Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 54. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, we did it, man. We're back on track. The Monday Show, for the first time in a good while, actually on Monday.
I know. It's a good feeling actually, and I guess I give credit to Labor Day. Had all day to play stuff and get ready for the show, and so now I'm ready to rock and roll. I think. I hope.
How ironic that Labor Day, everybody has off work. I mean, like if it's Labor Day, you would think that it would be the day that everybody went to work.
Yeah, I'm just surprised anybody's working in this country at all anymore, man. It's like advantageous not to work. You might as well not, right? So
Well, we're going to see how advantageous it is. I haven't heard anything about the status of the unemployment stimulus or what have you. I know that they gridlocked on it last month, but then the president signed his thing. But that's the last I heard about it. So we're going to find out soon if they're actually going to let those checks go or if I'm taking a loss by being at home.
it'd be nice to hear before the video cards announcement gets or not announcement drop. That way I could get my money in and I could hit it, but we're not.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to know, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, Monday show in full swing. Chat already filling out. Looks like Risky Business is here. How's it going? Roy Schwartz, Scion, Hussein X, and Spry Guy.
Radio Runt as well. He says,
Oh yeah, Radio Run. Hey buddy, back from camping Radio Run.
yeah, we wanted to ask you, Radio Runt. Somehow it got out there. I think I said it, that you were glamping, not camping, but glamping. Is that true? Were you like in the motorhome or were you actually tenting it up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would assume by the amount of time that he's been gone that he was probably legit camping.
Yeah. Maybe, depending on the thing. I don't like it. I mean, I like camping, but man, sleeping on the ground sucks in a tent. You know what I mean? I better have some
Yeah,
kind of
dude.
padding or something. I'm 45. I can't be sleeping on the rocky ground anymore.
Yeah, see that's the thing. I'm good to spend a day outside. We can go hiking or whatever, go fishing, whatever you want to do. But when bedtime comes, man, I need my shower and my bed. We can just come home, and then if you want to go back out tomorrow, then fine, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, he says he was at a friend's driveway in a trailer, so he's not even at a campground. He was just chilling away
Just
from
chilling.
environment, away from VR. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. I think even if I went to like legit camp out in a tent, I would at least have to bring my Quest with me.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Questing in the nature. Although depending on where you go to the Great Sand Dunes, not a good place for the Quest. A lot of sand.
Yeah,
So
probably not. Uh, the Risky Business says he's leaning 3090. Ooh, that's a steep price tag, man. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to just wait for a 3080 Ti, which is going to be about this much different?
all right. So 6 months you said, right? Because that's probably what I'm gonna do is just wait that
Normally,
6 months.
around 6 months.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. I can't wait. I definitely don't know about a 3090. Unless they start throwing money away from or around with the government, then yeah, maybe. Right.
Yeah, who knows?
So
But anyway, let's get on into the Monday show here. We got some good topics lined up to round it all off. But before that, as always, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. And we've got a nice little backlog report lined up. But first, we've been kicking around the idea of checking out these Half-Life Alyx mods for a while. We didn't jump in when they first announced it and it first released. We want to do much like with Dreams. We wanted to let the pool of available experiences begin to grow, and that way, when we jump in, we have a little bit of selection. And boy, Roots, did we have some selection to choose from, didn't we?
yeah, you know what's weird about it is I had chosen a couple games and then I changed my mind and then I changed my mind again because there's so many different good ones. The ones that you picked, I never even knew were out there. I mean, I guess one of them you said I'd forgotten. And then there's just tons of them. Like there was one that I don't even know I wanted to check out. It's got good ratings, but it was like something about time travel or something. So I don't know what that has to do with. But I love time travel, Back to the Future, all that kind of stuff. So that would be pretty cool. But yeah, there's a ton of mods already made, and it just seems like there's more and more every day.
Yeah, man, I went in there and I ranked them by popularity all time. You have to make a couple of clicks to arrange them that way. But there was there was a ton of them with very high ratings. I installed, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them, and I played 2. And then the very next day, I sold my graphics card. So now I've
Mm.
got just the 2 I played to talk about. But at least we got enough in for the Monday show, right?
Yeah, it's true. That's true. And it's a good theme. And it's something that I was telling you right before we started that it's opened my eyes about these mods. Like, I mean, I know mods are good and stuff, but I kind of wrote this one off just for a little bit and forgot. And I had to reinstall the game so much so that I had uninstalled it a while ago. And just going in for the little bit that I did, I want to go back in. And I can imagine someone like Jarillo that's like a huge Half-Life Alyx fan, or Half-Life in general, is going to really love this the Source 2 and the mods that are out there, and especially with ones that are about to come out.
Yeah,
So,
Jarrell been talking about it a little bit in the Discord. For those of you who aren't already members of our Discord, there's an invitation in the description down below. But our good friend and former host Alyx just did a top 20 Half-Life Alyx mods video, uh, and that's on over on his channel, Virtual Insider. There's a link in the description below for that as well.
yeah.
But Jarilla was on there talking about some of the things that that he learned about in that video, and he was pretty impressed with what he saw. No surprise there. I mean, as far as Half-Life fans go, I think Jarillo might be at the very top of the list, and there isn't even a close second.
Yeah, it's from pretty much from everybody I know for sure. So,
But the 2 that I got a chance to play were 2 that I've had my eye on for quite some time. You know me, I'm kind of a horror buff, so when I read or watch any videos that mention these horror themed mods for Half-Life Alyx, of course that's the very first thing I'm going to go to. And the very first one that I went to was actually something that I don't know. We're starting to see in every little aspect. Anytime any kind of an engine comes out in VR, someone has to make a version of PT in it. Of course, I tried a few months back. I tried the Unreal PT, which was really cool, but you never really saw the end of it. And then, of course, when I got Dreams, I went in. First thing I tried in Dreams was PT in VR, and now here we have the Half-Life Alyx version of PT in VR. And while not perfect, uh, I think as far as like visual fidelity goes, this is probably the best looking PT that I've played.
damn nice. So, what did they use as far as like from the game? Like they clearly, or did they still have voice acting and that type of stuff? Or I assume like, because the ones that I tried were kind of based on Alyx, and so it wasn't PT. So I was just curious if like they interjected any dialogue at all, or if it was just all quiet and noises.
Well, the sound effects were fairly close. I mean, the only voices that you ever had in PT was that radio clip playing, right? That
Mm.
talks about the father who murdered his family, and you know how it tends to repeat over and over again the same clip on the radio. They had that very same clip on there, playing the exact same track.
Hmm.
So that from that perspective, it was fairly perfect. The one thing that really sets this one behind is what I feel like is going to be the Achilles heel of all of these Alyx mods, and that is the apparent inability for these creators to make their own assets and enter into it. Maybe there's ways for it to be done, but most of these mods that I'm seeing pretty much just reuse the Half-Life Alyx assets. So when it comes to the things in PT like the paintings on the wall, those are not able to be reproduced, or at least they weren't reproduced. When it comes to like the baby in the sink, they couldn't redo that. They had the sound of it, so you kind of knew in your mind what they were kind of getting at, but the baby was never in the sink in
Mm,
the bathroom. Um, Also, you know, the way that you beat PT is by finding the little pieces of the photograph laying around everywhere. They'll be hidden here, there, and everywhere. And as you collect them, you progress. None of that stuff was in this
mm.
version of PT. So even though it looked and sounded really good, it really wasn't true to the original because of the those very important things being missing.
Yeah, so that's exactly, so you just answered my question as far as what I was wondering. Um, it's got to be assets that were in the game, because otherwise, aside from audio, they can clearly inject audio, but they can't inject any new video, right? Or type of that
It's the
type of
way it
stuff.
seems. That's the way it seems. Maybe it's something that a more experienced game developer could do, somebody who knows how to code, for example. But most of these mods, all of these mods that I've seen, not that I have the most experience in the world, but all of the ones I've seen have all been made by reusing the assets from the original game.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I've seen as well. You know what I mean? So it's just I at least the ones that I did, it was all Alex related. And so I would imagine that right now it's just their assets for the game. And it'd be cool if they could unlock it to where you could add other stuff. And maybe, like you said, that isn't the case and they can, and people can let us know. But um, either way, I was impressed with everything I saw. I don't think I ever tried the PT, or at least not the full thing. So I would have not known what the baby in the sink. I would have never known about the notes or any of that. So, um, it's good that you knew that. So,
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed my time in it. It was similar to the Unreal PT in one way, and that is there was no end to it, or at least I couldn't find an end to it. At the end of it, there was basically the same hallway repeating over and over and over again, and you just go in a loop
mm.
forever with no doors to go in or anything. Um, so unless I just missed something, I mean, I probably spent 10 minutes trying to find a way out of it,
Mm.
and I couldn't find anything. But other than that, I really enjoyed my time in it. And as for most horror experiences in VR, it got me a couple of times. Uh, did you try any of the horror mods for Half-Life Alex?
Yeah, I did actually, and I had even less success than you did. What is this one called? Parlecium, I guess is what it's called. It's like this is only a demo, right? And so I went in
Oh,
there, and the first thing I heard from people was that it was dark, right? Everybody was complaining in the comments, and I saw that in the description, the guy that made it said he has no intention on changing it. It's a horror thing, and he wants it to be dark. And like so much so that he went out of his way to tell everybody that, right? I kind of had the same problem with that hat. And so I got in there, and it was not that dark at first. And I found the hat, I put it on, and then everything went wrong. It was so dark I couldn't find anything, and I was like, "What is wrong with this hat?" And I stumbled around for about 10 minutes in the dark, trying. I found this guy's like dead on the bed. There was a zombie or something. Found this note, and it said there was a weapon in there. Never found the weapon. But the worst part is, and this worse for me. As I was in there, I said, you know what? I'm just there. I didn't see anybody watching the stream, so I said, I'm just gonna leave. And right after I left, I noticed Alex had specifically created a Twitch account to help me. Right? He was gonna help me. I guess I missed the battery for the headlamp. This is how bad I am sometimes at games, Wes, and this is why I need somebody to hold my hand. I was like, I guess there was a battery for the thing. I had it in my hand. I threw it to the side and then bitched about the no light for 5 minutes in the dark. And then Alex went out of his way to be a nice guy and try to save me, and it was too late. So, from what I hear, outside of what I saw, I mean, everything that I saw was pretty creepy, and it looks pretty dark. So I'll have to go back in to give it another shot. I figured that my failure could be a story in and of itself, and a lesson to people to do better. Now, did you have trouble with the like figuring out exactly how to start the mods? Because at first it was a little. I started the game a couple times and then realized the game is not starting for me. It was like the regular game, and I didn't check something, or I don't know. It was weird.
Well, I figured it out pretty easily. I actually downloaded the mods from the workshop tab on the game page, so I knew that I had them activated, and then I booted the game because I thought it might be like contractors where the game has to be open for them to actually download, and then from there, I mean, you can see the add-ons as a menu item, right? So uh, I went in there and just kind of messed around with them and could and noticed that you were enabling and disabling them. So basically, what I did is I just enabled the ones I wanted to play
Mm.
and backed all the way back out to the main menu. And I didn't want to obviously mess with my saved game, so I picked another save slot, went to play new game, and switched it from the regular game over to the mods and went right in, no problem.
Okay, well, it was cool. Once I figured it out, it's really cool the way they have it, because you can have that whole list and you can check several different mods, right? I wonder if any of them break each other. But
See, that was what I was worried about. That's why I didn't enable all of them at once. I thought that they might be sharing assets or using conflicting methods. So I wanted to try to avoid that.
yeah, well, the Paralecium or whatever it's called, it didn't give you the option to pick your own, create your own file. Like you went to go create it, and then you had to pick a specific demo file. Maybe because it's a demo. I don't know, but no, it was cool. It was definitely creepy. It was dark. Everything that they said about it was dark. But don't listen to early Ruuts when he was playing it. He didn't know what he was doing. Got to get the battery apparently, and then you can get it done. You can see a lot more. But it's even now it looks dark as hell. And if you don't like being in the dark, then this probably isn't a good creepy one for you.
Well, if nothing else, you've turned me on to it. I didn't know that thing existed, and I'm going to go back in it and play it as soon as I can, which it might be a little while, but as soon as I can, I'm going to go back in, and that'll probably be the very next one I check out because a lot of the things that you're saying about it here are what makes Belomorskaya a great one, and I really really enjoyed Belomorskaya. I knew about it from watching other channels. Um, Not really watching the videos, but because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, right? So I would see these thumbnails that talked about how terrible and frightening it was, and I think even Upload or one of the news sites did an article about it. So this was always top of my list of things I wanted to check out, and I went into it, and it seemed fairly basic at first, but as you progress in it, all of a sudden it gets dark. It gets very dark, and it gets dark like that. And as soon as the lights go out, it gets intense. And it wasn't easy. I got killed a few times trying to make my way through it, but the darkness of it is what really ratchets up the tension. It's what made this as great as it was. If it wasn't so dark, it wouldn't have been scary at all. But the fact that you can barely see in it and the ammo is somewhat limited really made it a fun play.
Yeah, I think that's key for most horror games, right? You need to have some kind of darkness to it, to where, especially in VR, just adds a different element to it, makes it a little bit spookier. And I was telling you, I was watching these gameplays I pulled up, and both of the ones you picked, I was like, damn, dude. Especially this one, it just seems like a lot more action packed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the whole thing with this one is like, so it gets dark, right? And eventually, after it gets dark and you end up getting the enemies off of you and getting a minute to breathe, you find a torch, like a hand torch. But here's the thing about this being a VR game that's different than, say, if you were playing a flat game. Uh, in VR, or at least in the good VR games, whenever you're firing guns and you're out of ammo, you have to reload, right? You have to put in a new clip, you have to rack the chamber to put another round in. But if it's pitch black and you've got zombies coming at you, you've got a gun in one hand and then a flashlight in another hand. When you run out of ammo, the only way you can reload is by putting down that flashlight,
Mm,
which makes it 10 times worse because now you can hear this stuff coming at you. You're fumbling around trying to get another clip for your gun. And at any moment, something could be diving at your face, but you'll
damn.
never see it because it's pitch black.
Yeah. And next thing you know, you're dead. All right. That's what's crazy. That was
Yeah.
that's one of the things. Now you said torch first, and then you said flashlight. Did you mean flashlight instead of torch?
It's weird because it looks like a flashlight to look at it, but it has these kind of like flames coming out of the end of it. So it's
Hmm.
kind of both. And honestly, if you go over to like the UK, their word for flashlight is torch. They
Hmm.
actually call flashlights torches. So that's kind of a little bit behind while I'm calling it a torch as well. I guess a lot of the people that watch us would call it a torch either way. But no, it looks like an electronic flashlight, but it has like these flame things coming out of the end of it.
Hmm. Was that in the game? Was there flames in the game, or is that just maybe they just were? I mean, because I'm really curious about the assets now, like because that kind of conflicts. Although maybe it was just able to add to it. Slay Blaze says, you know who else likes the darkness?
My mom!
Yeah, I heard that about her for sure, dude. Um,
No, but that's a good point, Roots, because in the game you don't actually hold the flashlight. The flashlight's an automatic thing that pops up out of your gloves. So
oh, yeah, because
I
that.
guess you're
Well, I was gonna say that's how mine was too. Is like on the next game I'm going to talk about, you attached it to your glove, right?
right. So I guess this could be a new asset or maybe an unused asset that they developed and ended up not putting in the game. But it certainly isn't the one that they used in the proper campaign.
Yeah. Well, this looks pretty cool, man. I'm gonna have to check this out. Now I was
Yeah,
gonna.
dude, I really enjoyed it. It probably took me 20 to 25 minutes to work my way through it, and it was top notch. It was it was like video game quality level. I really enjoyed it, and it was very good.
Oh, cool. That's what's cool, man. Is it's like the level of these creators. Some are really high level. You know what I mean? Like the next one I was gonna pick a different one, and then I ended up seeing this one and the description. I was like, well, I got to check this out, and it's called the Lost Case. And what's cool about this is it's got a master builder. What's his name? Wim Bytiert Tart by Tart. I don't know. Anyway, they say it says master builder, and I I don't think they're blowing smoke because it had like 5 pages of comments about how good it is. And so the way that this works is you get the first 6 levels for free, or 6, I think, levels, chapters or whatever, and then Patreon people get the rest. And I thought that was kind of cool too. Is like, why not? And from what I saw, I did not have it dubbed in a different language, by the way, but no, it was really good. It was hard. It was hard as hell. I had it on normal, and I died about 10 times, Wes. I was thinking of you because you probably would have kicked its ass and just kept going like every game compared to what I'm doing. But no, it was really cool, man. And the story so far was cool, and it's got rave reviews, and I definitely recommend checking it out.
That's really cool because like my biggest complaint with the original Half-Life Alyx was that it's too easy, right? I played it on like the hard level from the very start and never really found it all that challenging. I mean, there was a few difficult parts that I had to play a couple times to get, but for the most part, I just ran right through it. And you're telling me this is hard. I mean, that
Sorry.
sounds cool to me. I'd like something with a little bit more challenge. Now you're saying that this is a multi-part series, the latter part of which is behind a paywall. So I'm wondering, is there voice acting in this, or is it all just like the pre-rendered stuff from the game?
Well, there's voice acting and stuff, but it's all stuff, assets that you would normally have that you would hear when you're doing stuff. But it was kind of cool. Like you had to break this window, get the key card. Like you just used elements that I didn't really see too much in the game. And what was hard was just the amount of the soldiers, man. Especially this one guy, he just kept gunning me down, and I don't know what I was doing wrong. I did not end up passing him. You know what I mean? Like, but it makes me want to go in there. And just the fact that, like I said, it's a master builder. I'm sure there's people that really have a pedigree in writing games or whatever, and they just have to put them on there and actually make some money. So
Yeah, I actually watched a mini tutorial about how to make levels in the excuse me, in Source 2, and it's really don't look all that difficult if you have the patience to do something like that. It's not hard.
yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool, especially if it was something that you had the free time and you wanted to tinker with it, and maybe people like it. Next thing you know, you got a Patreon and you're making money, and you're doing it. This guy's doing it, so that's cool.
Yeah, he's doing it. So yeah, Roots, you know what you're doing here is you're making me sorry. You're making me sorry I sold my damn graphics card, man. I want to go in here and play these damn levels now, and I'm stuck. I can't do it.
Nah, you're gonna be sorry for about 2 weeks, and then you're gonna be skipping around with your. I was watching a video today on how much power the 2080 Ti jumped to the 3080, and I was like, "Fuck, man," like I want it, Wes. I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna do like Hussein X said. I'm gonna have patience. I'm gonna wait that 6 months. I've never had a Ti. I'm gonna buy that 2080 Ti, and just slum it with the 2080 for about 6 months. But it'll free me up to get the Quest or something else.
Yeah, plenty of good stuff coming, and more on that a little bit later in the show. But first, we got a backlog report this week, right? And it's funny. Um, we were kind of talking yesterday about what we might do for the backlog report, and I talked a bit about what I'd been playing throughout the week, and then after I got off the episode, I just went right back in and played it some more. But you kind of did the same thing. You just after we got off the air yesterday, or I guess earlier today, you went right back into what you had already been playing, right?
Yeah. Actually, see, what was funny is I couldn't get into Jupiter Grod for I don't know, it was a week maybe, and so much so because my computer was doing all sorts of weird stuff. I was able to get back into the Oculus Rift version after I fixed my computer, and today I thought, okay, I even told Jim Hall because we were gonna do some Sea of Thieves, and I said I'll just do a little bit of Jupiter Grod and then the Alyx stuff, and then we can do that over. I got so sucked into this game, Wes, that I spent almost 3 hours and beat the game. I just played it straight through, and I was like, and then it ended, and I was like, oh man, what the hell? Like, I didn't even know that much time went by, and it's just a testament to how good this game is. I was talking to the dev in the Discord in private message, and they were saying that they were glad that I liked the game for the tutorial, and they were hoping that I would like the game after I played it. And I can clearly say, for me, this was the game of the month, hands down, just because it was just so good. My only complaint was I want more, like added levels or something. I feel like it was about 3 hours long, and I want double. They better get to work. Yeah.
So it's funny, right? So we had this big debate on last week's Monday show about what the game of the month should be. It was either going to be Jupiter God or Moose Life, and not the type of stuff you typically see in these game of the month discussions. But so every now and then games come out that are just fun, and I don't think there's any more of a good testimonial to that effect as just the idea that I finished one of these games and you finished the other, because we don't have a whole lot of time to play games here, especially since we started doing the channel, right? Normally we have to play a game a little while and then it's on to the next. We can't spend 6 weeks in a row talking about Trover Saves the Universe or Asgard's Wrath, right? We've got to go on to the next one. So just the fact that in the same little period of time, I finished a game and then you finished another game just goes to show you that these are two great games. And as little as we had come out in the month of August, it was a pretty good month for VR games.
Yeah, it was really good. And both games were really good. I agree. And it is a testament to just how good they are, because I guarantee if it would have been longer, say if it would have been 5 hours, I would have been in trouble, Wes. I think I would have streamed 5 hours, and then I would have been like, "Oh shit, I need to go into Half-Life Alyx still," um, because I was that into it that I didn't really realize that time was going by so fast. And it's the locomotion, it's the puzzle aspect, it's the you get to these places that you just don't know where you're supposed to go, and you're puzzling for like 5 minutes, and then you see it and it clicks, and then you got to do some kind of weird gymnastics to get up there. And I can't wait to see you play through it, or hear you play through it after you've told us, or however you do it, because I think you're going to really like this game. And to me, Mamefan's going to really enjoy this game and probably beat it in 2 hours instead of 3. But this is perfect, right up his alley as well. And I couldn't believe the humor of it. Although that was one thing, because I died in some places, and maybe I'm just salty because I died. But they'd tell this joke and you'd laugh, and then you go back, and then it would tell you again, and then you died 20 times. And I'm like, I don't need to hear this joke anymore. But yeah, no, it was really good. It was a good experience. $15, hands down, worth $15. Definitely do really want more levels, just because I had more fun. And somebody in the Discord said they've already played through this 3 times since it's dropped. So that's a testament to how good it is as well.
Yeah, I believe it. I had a blast when I played it, and it is that sort of thing that you just kind of get started on it, and you don't really think about how much time you're in it. You just keep going because I mean it's nonstop. It isn't something that you really stop and think about a whole lot when you play. You'll come to obstacles that you have to think your way around, but you're kind of thinking on your feet, right? You're still always in motion trying to figure it out. So you just kind of flow and go with it. And I think, my one time that I played it, I played like through half of the game. I don't know exactly how much further it would have gone, but I got to the area when you first get out of the ship proper, and you get to the point where if you look down, you're actually seeing the atmosphere of the planet, and then you have to like grab these platform things and pull them out so that you have something to grab to swing across these big wide gaps. Talk a little bit about the scale in the game. We mentioned it last week when we talked about it, and you hadn't been in yet, but I was talking about some of these very big areas and how good it feels to be in such large areas when in reality you're in your tiny room, right, with something on your face.
Yeah, when we're all living in one of those 200 by 200 square cubes, it'll be VR will be necessary, or you will go crazy. I agree, man. Like when you're down, especially even if you fall down right here or any of these places, you're looking way up there. I was surprised that I could grab some of these areas. I was like, holy shit, I grabbed it. And I don't know that there was a limit, Wes. Like you could pretty much grab, if it was in sight and it was blue, you can grab it. And you was like, maybe it would look like it was 1,000 feet up there or something, and you're still going up, especially the part where there's all those meat grinders. And that's one of my things. And I want to ask the devs what the hell space station is this, man? Because like there's so many ways to die. And I question, or I guess I question anybody that really doesn't understand. Like I'm a 4,000 person in this place, right? 3,999 people have came here and died. And there is like, why would you build such a death trap as a space station? It is so crazy, but it's fun to navigate. And somebody in the Discord said that this was like the best locomotion they've ever felt. And I know what they're saying now, just from the way you're swinging around, the jet propulsion, the way you can make your thing swing back, the way that you can either go up and down with your controller, or you can like yank it, and I don't know, man, it's just really cool.
Yeah, I had such a good time playing this game, and I kind of alluded to it yesterday. I kind of want them to figure out a way to squeeze some co-op in here, right? Wouldn't this be fun with another friend? Kind of like To the Top or something. That same kind of fun to have another guy with you. There really doesn't even need to be a point to it, right? Just the idea of having a friend in there swinging with you makes it sound even that much more fun.
It would be fun as hell, dude, because you died of stupid shit, man. You're gonna be laughing at each other and swinging into. I mean, I don't know. I got pretty good though, Wes. I feel like I'm like not master, and that's another thing. I'd like a harder stuff, like even harder puzzles, and and stuff. So maybe they'll add stuff onto it, or maybe they're already working on a sequel, which I doubt. But hands off to the devs. Definitely a really good game. So good that I bought it twice, and but it was good.
Yeah, I'd pay for some DLC here, wouldn't you? Like another level pack or something to give us another hour, hour and a half worth of playtime.
Hell yeah, dude! Especially if they made it co-op.
So there you go. The gauntlet has been thrown down. The challenge, devs, can you do it? Can you bring us co-op support? We would very much appreciate it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
So anyway, that's what Ruuts has been playing, and as I mentioned on the show yesterday, I haven't been able to stop playing Farpoint. Uh, I've talked about it many times on the channel before. How this is, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, the definitive aim controller game. It's such a versatile game. It has an epic 5 to 6 hour story campaign, and it's worth the price of admission for that alone. But even after you complete that, this game has tons and tons of replayability because there are challenge levels, which are these point-based speed runs that you can do with full leaderboards that you can, go up against your friends' totals and what have you. But then there's multiplayer, and that's what I've been playing this week. Not only is there a head-to-head one versus one multiplayer that shares a lot of the same aspects of the Frostpoint game that's coming out soon. But there's also co-op, and that's what we've been doing this week. I've already, as I've mentioned before on here, I played through all the co-op maps with my wife. I played through all the co-op maps with my daughter. But now my sons are starting to grow up a little bit, right? So now my son came to me and he wanted to play Farpoint co-op. So we started on it, and he's a natural. I mean, he's blowing it away, and we've played it 3 times now, and I think there's one map left that we've yet to beat, and we've just been having a blast at it almost daily.
Wow. I feel inadequate because I didn't get that good, Wes. When we played together, you rocked it. I kind of did crappy. Something tells me your son would blow me away on how good I am. But that's awesome, dude.
Well, he would blow you away literally, because one of his favorite things to do is catch me after, like when we're in between waves, he'll catch me walking away and then like headshot me and kill me.
Oh,
And
nice.
you can bring each other back to life, so it's no harm done. But it was funny the first 50 times. Uh, but after a while, it kind of gets old.
Yeah, yeah. Even I know. I don't like to kill people too much. I'll kill them a couple times, and then I'll back off. Because you don't want to start a war, and then all of a sudden you're not even playing the game. You're killing each other, right?
Right. No, but dude, we got off the air yesterday, and I'm trying to think about what I want to do for the Monday show, and then he comes in and asks me to play, and we end up in that thing for hours again. And at the end of it all, I'm just thinking, well, what's the point in playing something for the Monday show when I've already, put 5, 6, 7 hours or more in the Farpoint this week? The backlog report. This is kind of the point of it, right? To go back and play the games that we want to play, and really, this is all I've wanted to play for most of the week.
Yeah, not only that, but like our show caters to new and old VR people, and there's somebody out there that doesn't know how good Farpoint is, especially with the aim controller. Now, let me ask you this: after playing yesterday, how psyched are you to get the PlayStation 5 and play your baby here, as well as Resident Evil 7 and all these other classics on a better video card? It's going to be just like all the other stuff that we're excited about. You're going to be seeing all those games again in higher fidelity. Even if it's not a patch or anything, it's just going to look better, right?
Yeah, because this is one of those games that has scaling performance, right? It scales, the graphical fidelity scales to the resources that you have available. It's very much as one of these games that you could go into it one time and it'll be absolutely beautiful, and then you'll go into it the next time and there'll be all kinds of shimmery stuff all over everything. But what you're saying is absolutely true. This is what I'm thinking every time that I'm in it this week is, man, this game looks so good. Imagine what it's going to look like in 3 months. It's going to be absolutely stunning. And you know, uh, I mean, this looks like a PC game. Even today, even on like the old PlayStation, it looks like a PC game. So I can only imagine what it's going to look like with some real horsepower behind it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a side by side, like the PlayStation 4 Pro next to the PlayStation 5, how good it looks. Because this is from your channel, and this is, PlayStation 4 Pro, and I guarantee your next video, maybe you'll do it, maybe you won't. But if you do one on the PlayStation 5, it's going to just look so sharp and clear. And I can't wait to even just watch videos that way from this game, right? So,
Yeah, man, I can't wait just to have uh, another game like this. I mean, have you ever played anything else like this in VR? I would like some suggestions of a shooter that has this kind of diversity, right? You've got different kinds of enemies coming at you on the ground. It's action packed. You can't sit still. But then there's also stuff, drones and things coming at you from the sky. And on top of all of that, there's this epic story that you're playing through as well. So it's not just arcade style shooting, but it's also a really awesome story campaign. I mean, I've come across other games that are kind of in this direction, but none of them on this level of quality. I mean, this is like a legit AAA game, even though it isn't all that long from a campaign perspective. But if anybody can give me any kind of an idea, if there are other games in VR that are like this that I'm missing, please give me suggestions because 3 years later, this is still a top 10 VR game for me.
Farpoint 2.
I was watching Polish Paul the other day on his channel, and I knew the Impulse Gear was working on another game, and I didn't know anything other than that Impulse Gear, the developers of Farpoint, are working on another game. Now, according to him, and I didn't do any research to back up what he said that we already know that whatever they're working on is a massive scale VR shooter, something much bigger and better than Farpoint, he said.
Mm.
And this is the first I've heard of this. So maybe some news got by me. Maybe he's talking to developers that I don't have access to. But apparently, if he's to be believed, uh, we can go ahead and confirm now that whatever Impulse Gear is working on is going to be another VR shooter. And that, my friend, is very, very exciting.
Yeah, dude, because they've had how many 4 years now to get better at what they're doing. They're not just twiddling their thumbs, right? And they're probably started the game a year after it came out, and it's been in development for 3 years, and it's ready to come out. Maybe, I don't know. This is out of my ass, but I'm excited. I don't even care if it's a different style of shooter, as far as it doesn't have to be in space. It could be whatever. I just think it looks cool. This game is really fun. I know the story drug me along. It was just so good. And then, of course, the action was amazing. So anything this studio puts out, I'm going to be interested, especially if it's a bigger scale version of the one that I played. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my only complaint about this game is that it wasn't longer. If it had been, say, twice as long as it was, I think this probably would be my favorite game. And I guess probably in terms of playtime, I've probably put more hours into this than anything, and it's probably not even close.
Yeah. So it is longer. Story's
Yeah,
not
right.
longer, but the gameplay is just, if you keep going back to it, if it's that good, and part of it's the aim controller, like if it's so good that you want to play any game with the aim controller, and they do it so well, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've never, one of the things that makes VR so special is the ability to aim down the sights, right? But I've never had a game that it felt so natural to aim down the sights as this game. And a lot of that has to do with the aim controller because it just feels right. Not only does it feel like having the gun in your hands, but the scale was right from day one. Like, uh, other games, you'll have a gun in your hand, but where the controller is and where the gun is in the game really doesn't match up. But this is just perfect. You hold it up, and right where the sights should be, that's where they are. And you know, sure, occasionally there is drift, and there are things you can do to combat that. But when it's on, it's perfect, and you're literally pulling off headshots from like 500 yards, and it feels so good.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's that I think it's part of it is the translation too. Is like when you're like you said when you're because it's lined up so well. When you look at it, it just feels like you're really holding that gun that you're looking at in the game, and that gives you immersion as well. And hopefully, with the new tracking and the new PlayStation 5 and 1.5 PSVR or whatever's coming eventually, we'll have like a really good, well tracked gun, right? Maybe even the new camera will track that gun that much better to where there is no drift. Because that's about the only thing. And once you've said it, once you start to drift, you kind of have to resync it or something, right? Or restart it or.
There's various ways to do it. I mean, there's a reset tracking
Oh,
option
yeah.
in the pause menu, but you can also, if that's not working so well for you, you can go out to the main menu into the settings, turn the controller off completely, and turn it back on, and that does a hard reset on it, and that really helps. Um, the one thing that I always do, and I give this advice to anyone playing any aim controller game whatsoever, is you want to have your camera high up, a little bit taller than you, probably a foot taller than your head, and then instead of facing the camera directly, just angle yourself off 5 or 10 degrees. Not not much at all, but just give it enough angle so that you're not occluding the controller and the headset. Because if you're looking straight on, the lights on the headset and the light on the end of the gun are going to line up perfectly, and the controller is going to have a little, or I'm sorry, the camera's going to have a little trouble differentiating which one's which.
Hmm.
But if you just angle it off just slightly, you can see that the camera can see both things separately, and it tends to track a lot better and not drift quite so much.
Wow, it's a good tip. You should make a video for your channel and put it on there. People love those kind of little short instructional. I never knew that. So it's cool.
Yeah, so that's I mean, that video was probably I should have made 2 years ago. We're moving into a new generation now, and I guess
Yeah.
if we don't hear something soon from Sony about the next generation of PSVR or what they're even planning on doing with PSVR on PS5, I guess maybe I should make that video. But we could be hearing something a little sooner rather than later because this morning, just out of nowhere, Roots, Sony announces that it's PSVR week. Hooray!
Hey.
And it's real interesting because we were just talking about this yesterday, and I don't remember if we were talking on the show or talking in private, but we were saying that Sony is obviously holding back all of the PSVR news. They haven't announced Minecraft VR yet. They haven't told us anything about Resident Evil 7 or about any kind of hardware plans for the PS5. And then, just like clockwork, as if they were listening to us, Roots, the very next morning, not only did they announce that we're getting a different PSVR announcement every day this week, but they went ahead and announced the Minecraft we were just talking about yesterday.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. Well, I think they are listening to us. Like they're all listening. Now, either one or two things is happening. Either these big companies are listening to us and they're announcing stuff according to virtual strangers, or Wes has a really good pulse on VR. Your thumb is on it, dude. Like you just watching this news, man. You have a good job of predicting. They need to call you Westradamus. And I'm excited, dude. We're close, man. We're getting closer to Thanksgiving and to the holidays, to the actual PlayStation. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what they're gonna announce. Like you said, I want to know what kind of game. I mean, they've announced all sorts of flag games, right? So all sorts of videos out there. This stuff. What is coming out for VR, man? Let's get some actual solidification on some of these titles we want to know, right?
So it's interesting. We've been speculating for a while now that Sony would have some kind of big PSVR blowout that would not only give us the confirmation that we want on some of these titles we already know about, but also give us some kind of idea of what their short-term direction for VR on PS5 will be. I mean, of course, we all know that PSVR 2 will come out one day. We don't know if that'll be sooner or later, but in the short term, as a VR gamer, what am I buying when I buy a PS5? What do we have to look forward to? And the fact that they've been sitting on all of these announcements that we knew were coming, Minecraft being a prime example, just let us know that some kind of an event was coming. Now, my question coming into this week is, what exactly is this going to be? Obviously, we had a few announcements a couple of weeks ago at State of Play with the Hitman announcement. But really, that felt more like they were just kind of throwing us VR players a bone rather than the big blowout announcement that we were looking for. So now we've got a whole week of it, right? All about VR. And they're kicking it off with Minecraft. So that tells me that this is one of two things. Either this is the big PSVR blowout that we've been waiting on. I mean, it's something. They're kicking it off with Minecraft. So this is it. So this is either going to be the big deal that we had hoped for, or we're going to kind of be, it's kind of them throwing us another bone, which is a scary proposition, right? Because if it's not now, then when? I mean, they're obviously, by giving us Minecraft, that lets us know that, okay, this is it, right? They're going to uh, give us give us a peek into the near future of the PSVR platform, because Minecraft's a big deal, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge deal. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things that people have been, for whatever reason, man, people have been really pissed. Like, we want it in VR. Everybody else gets to experience it. And ironically, it was the very first game I went into on PC was Minecraft, and I was blown away. Anybody that loves Minecraft, I mean, you really does translate. You are taken into that world. And one of the coolest things is you can build stuff, build a whole creation. People have spent thousands of hours, Paradise Decay being one of them. And then you can now go into those creations, and there's not many things you can do. So yeah, it's really cool. And I think that's a huge announcement. And I would imagine, this is my gut feeling, if it's not going to be any bigger, they would have ended with Minecraft. I don't think they would have started with it if they're not going to start with such a big thing and then go down. So I'm hoping and crossing fingers that we start hearing huge things. Resident Evil 8, just everything we've been waiting for, right?
Right, exactly. And I tend to concur. I think that I think by them opening with Minecraft, if they're putting any kind of thought into the messages that they're sending us, that they know that, by them opening with that it's going to raise our expectations, right? Or otherwise, like you said, they would close with it instead of open with it. Um, so yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think Minecraft is a big deal. I think that this is a headset seller, Roots.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's definitely for a lot of people, especially people that are your kids' age and probably like 13 and younger. But I mean, there's a lot of adults as well. Now, how cool would it be if they came out and said Marvel Spider-Man was going to be in VR? And this is something that I was talking about to a customer the other day, and I know I've said it before on the show. And he was playing Call of Duty, and he was just like one of those people that are just fucking gods in there. And I didn't even ask him. I just mentioned VR a little bit, and I asked him about, I said there's a game like Contractors and stuff. And he said, I just want to be in the game and still be able to play the same way, because he's so good at it. And he knows when he goes in, it's going to be a totally different game, right? And so I think that, in my opinion, should be a mode, especially for big games like that, because I would love to go in and still use my controller. And if you're a god in it, you're still going to be a god in VR as well. And if you want to go to a realistic sim mode, they could call it, then you get to use the gun, and then you die to everybody else that rapes you, So
Yeah. I think that's one of the big reasons why these competitive multiplayer flat gamers, they always crap on VR, right? Because they want, I mean, they're grasping and holding on for dear life to their paradigm, right? Because as soon as they get outside of that, then all of a sudden they're normal again, right? Now things are competitive again, and they don't want that, right? They want to keep their supremacy, everything that they've worked on for the last decade since they were 11 years old.
Yeah, those gods will come in and they'll get stabbed in the face by Scion in about 2 seconds, and they're gonna say, "What happened, dude?" But it's a totally different game, and I'm not saying that. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's more fun playing the way it is. But I'm just making the case, especially for like what we were saying with Hitman or whatever. That bridge needs to exist. It has to exist because there's people in VR or that aren't in VR that'll never come because of their game. You know, same thing would be like for Madden football or something. You know, some people don't want to do this. They want to be the quarterback and push a button and watch it get thrown perfect. It's just the way it is. And so you add that mode in, you're going to draw those people in. At the same time, you need to have the modes for the hardcore people like ourselves that we want to feel like we're throwing the actual football. And eventually it'll all go away. But I think that transition in a few years could actually really do well for VR as far as getting those big AAA titles that are going to struggle with getting people to come into it just because, or at least the flat gamers anyway.
Yeah, we're going to continue to make progress in it. I mean, it's kind of a snowballing now, right? I mean, we're over the hump, and a lot of people want VR for different reasons. So I'm sure the Call of Duty gamers will be the last to come over, but we'll get them too.
Yeah, sure. We're going to get them all.
Scion says West Stormland was fun in co-op. Yeah, it was actually. I really enjoyed Stormland, but it's kind of a different game. I enjoyed it for different reasons than I like Farpoint. Farpoint plays more like a Doom than Stormland. It's one of these games that there's enemies everywhere and you can't sit still or you're going to die. Stormland, it was for me anyway, it was much more about exploration, about the locomotion, being able to fly, swooping in on your enemies from above. That was really what I liked about Stormland. Farpoint, a completely different experience.
Yeah, Stormland was really good. Felt good. If it had a really good story like Farpoint did, it would have been 10 times better than it was. You know, it was the thing that I think it just really, if they could have added a story into it, it just would have made it phenomenal instead of a really good game. And because you kind of felt like there was nothing pulling you along. And then it had that weird, you know, progression for especially, which I'm sure they didn't plan when they made it, but especially since they were moving on to another platform and they weren't going to be making any more games to, you know what I mean? It's just weird. It could have been better, but it was really good.
Yeah, it's interesting too that Scion brings up Stormland because Insomniac Games, the developer behind Stormland, is now a wholly owned Sony first-party studio. So we're wondering here, you know, with this PSVR week that just got announced, they say, quote, over the next few days, we're going to spotlight some upcoming games coming to PlayStation VR, including some announcements and updates for previously revealed PSVR titles. So obviously there's going to be some announcements and some surprises this week. Ruuts, how likely do you think it is that Stormland is one of these games that gets announced?
Oh, that'd be so awesome, dude. Because we know the new PlayStation 5 could handle it. It's a game that is well known that everybody loves on the PC and the PlayStation 5 people, or 4, or VR, I guess in general, are chomping at the bits. They would love to try it. And it really just comes down to what was the agreement between Oculus and Insomniac when they made it, right? Because there's no reason why it couldn't unless it was in the agreement, which we have no idea if it is or not, but it could. I mean, I would love to see Spider-Man as well, but I don't, that's less likely, but I think it could be possible, man. You know, so
yeah, refresh my memory. When was Stormland released? Do you remember?
I thought it was the end of 2018, definitely 2009. It was before they got sold.
It's been about a year, right?
Yeah, so it would have ran out as far as
it was October, if I remember correctly. Let's check on this real quick.
Yeah, November 14th.
November. So it was it Asgard's Wrath that came out first. Then
Must have
that's
been.
probably what it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
says it was set to arrive on November 14th. So I mean, if it, maybe it, I mean by the time it drops, PlayStation 5 drops, it'll be a year, right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: do you think that PS4 could run Stormland?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe the Pro, but probably not. I'd say I don't know, man. I mean, I guess if it was optimized right, definitely not as well as the 5, right? But isn't that one of the things that they said if it came out before that date, it has to play on both systems, right? 4 and 5, isn't that the rule? Or is it that
Yeah.
it has to play on 5 only after that point, a certain point?
Yeah. Anything that gets announced, I'm sorry, not announced, but anything that gets submitted to Sony after July must run on PlayStation 5 as well. So obviously, with this being an Insomniac title, Sony would have already had this in the works a long time ago.
Mm.
But of course, it would be on PS5. The only reason I'm asking is one of the things in the announcement today. I know I'll read this word for word. It says, and as mentioned, this is all about the games. So to manage expectations, there will be no PS5 related news. So I don't know how to take that, Roots. Does that mean that the games are are only going to be PS4 games that they're talking about, or does that mean that this is only about games and there won't be any PS5 hardware news this week?
Well, what do you associate with the words PlayStation 5? You know, because it could be mean either, right? But I mean, I guess I would think hope they mean console. They're not any
Yeah,
hardware.
I'm thinking that's what they mean because they say it because of the way they say it. They say this is all about the games. There'll be no PS5 related news. So I think what they're trying to say there is we're only talking about games here. We're not going to be talking about hardware.
Yeah, well, and I mean, really, it would make more sense that way because let's be honest, who cares about games that are, if there was a game being released for PlayStation 4 exclusively, one, I don't even know what the hell that game's developers are thinking. And then two, why would you care? Like, I'm not going to start going backwards on some of these titles, and I don't think they would release Stormland only for PlayStation 4. So definitely would have to be the console if, or, you know, hardware news, if that game is actually one of the games. Sure, but it's likely.
So it's interesting. It's interesting timing. It's interesting that we're coming up on a year now from Stormland. So, and it's interesting, like you said, that they opened with Minecraft. They opened with Minecraft. We have 4 more days of announcements to come. Obviously, they got to come with something pretty good to follow that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't think they would start on the first one. That would definitely be really weird to me to start with such big news. And maybe we're naive and maybe it's not that big a news. But I think the PlayStation VR owners, and like you said, I think it is a console seller, especially in the console world. If you can sell like a whole bundle or even just a PlayStation VR package that's Minecraft and it's got Minecraft all over it and kids see it and like, I want that, you know? And I mean, I just think it's huge.
Yeah, and I think that Stormland, no, honestly, I don't think it would run very well on PlayStation 4. Maybe they would have been able to optimize it over the last year to make it run on PlayStation 4. But I think if Stormland's coming to PSVR, it's most likely going to be PS5 exclusive. But with that said, I think that Stormland is a title that actually would work quite well with the PlayStation VR equipment as we have it, the regular move controllers, the camera, the headset. I think that the Iron Man game has gone to show us that this type of game specifically does work with the current gen PlayStation VR. So I absolutely believe if they had a PS5 behind the game to push it, that this game would be very fun on your current PSVR equipment.
Yeah, and it would be definitely hands down one of the best games that's on PlayStation VR next to Farpoint, that type of stuff. But as far as movement wise, I think it would even rival Iron Man because it feels so good and you're flying and you're flinging yourself up the rocks and like you said, coming down and shooting them. And It was just really good. Just needed a story.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's think about this for a minute then. We've got Minecraft already announced. We've got 4 more days of announcements. What do we think could possibly be these announcements be? And let's talk about what we already know is coming to PlayStation 4. It stands to make sense here that we might hear a little bit more about Humanity. It's been about a year since they revealed Humanity as a an upcoming title with PSVR compatibility. We had that very first teaser trailer, and ever since then, nothing, not a single word, not a single piece of news, absolutely nothing about Humanity. And now here we are coming into the end of 2020, uh, still nothing on Humanity. So I think it stands to reason that at some point we're going to hear something about this title.
Yeah, yeah. Humanity is actually a pretty good. Oh wow, what is that? It was actually a pretty good game. Or, I mean, trailer so far, right? It looks weird. It's just bizarre. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that they released it, the trailer made me wonder what the hell is this thing, right?
Yeah, coming to us from Enhanced, unless I'm fairly mistaken. These are the same people that brought us Res Infinite, the same people that brought us Tetris Effect. So I would expect a very different kind of game from these people. And just to look at that teaser trailer, it really, I mean, it's hard to make out what kind of a game it's going to be. It looks like it might be a kind of like a Lemmings type game, but there's just these masses of people all running in different directions, and it's really kind of hard to figure out what kind of a game this might be, unless it just turns out to be some kind of a strategy slash puzzle game.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it would be to me, is like a strategy, like Lemmings type of thing. It's, I don't know, man. I think it looks like it would be a game that was really cool to check out in VR, because there's so many things going on and so many people, and all, you know, you're watching what each individual person's doing, and it just looks cool. They're
Yeah, it looks
fighting.
like flow puzzles, doesn't it? Looks like uh, it certainly that's what it has to be a puzzler, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. I mean, that is my my hope anyway. It's been a while since they talked about it, so hopefully they'll let us know soon, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it doesn't happen this week, then I'm starting to question whether or not we even hear about it this year at all. Because again, we're coming into the end of the year now. This is the big PS VR blowout. I mean, this is a PS4 title, not a PS5 title. And here we stand at the end of the generation, getting ready to change over. It's now or never, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I, like you said, I don't even understand if they don't have it coming out soon, what is happening, right? So,
Yeah. So what else? We were kind of speculating yesterday that maybe the Hitman developers, the guys behind Hitman 3, really weren't being totally forthcoming with us, because they kind of act weird anytime people starts asking them about other controller options, or starts to talk about future updates to the game. These guys, they don't just automatically shoot it down and say, no, we're not going to do that. They just kind of act weird about it, and don't say anything. So maybe this week is a week that we might actually hear something new on Hitman 3, right?
yeah, yeah, it would be about time, right? So, I mean, they're, when is the release supposed to have, they told us a release date, or, I mean, I guess it's what, when PlayStation 5 comes out, or,
This is January 20th, 2021.
yeah, so we're getting close, man. We're already halfway, well, not halfway, but it feels like halfway, a quarter of the way through September. So we're coming up on January soon.
Yeah, so what I'm going by here is what they said today on the PlayStation blog. They said some announcements and updates for previously revealed PSVR titles. How many previously revealed PSVR titles are there, Roots? I can only think of Hitman. What else am I missing?
Well, did they officially announce Resident Evil 8 as VR, or no?
No, they have not.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, they could be that they previously announced it, but they haven't actually specified VR. I don't know.
Yeah, previously revealed PSVR titles. I'm trying to think. So chat, help me out. What else is there besides Hitman VR? What other previously revealed PSVR titles? It's Hitman and and the one we just talked about, right? Humanity. Those are the two.
Astrobot, Hussein X says, but I don't know that they've announced that for sure. Have they
I mean,
announced?
if we get into previously released PSVR titles, then maybe that's what they're talking about. I mean, maybe there's updates. Maybe there's more Blood and Truth DLC coming. Maybe there's something new coming for Astrobot. I got to imagine though, anything that we're getting new for those IPs, that would probably be PS5 stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Onikaze says there was a side scrolling sci fi game.
Ah, that is true. Now I did not consider that. He's talking about Star Child. And Star Child is a title, kind of a Metroidvania style title from Playful, the developers who brought us Lucky's Tale. Um, and it's been an odd one, right? Because Star Child was a highly anticipated PSVR game. They put it on the PSVR demo disc, even. And then, they had pre orders up for it if I'm not mistaken, but then everybody got refunded. They announced that the game was canceled, but then when people asked Playful about it, they said that that was a miscommunication, that the game wasn't canceled. And
Mm.
then, fast forward a few months after that, Playful lays off a bunch of its workforce in mass. So nobody really even knows what's going on with Star Child. Is it dead? Is it not? Is it coming to PlayStation? Maybe did the developer decide to take it to PC after Sony said it was canceled? Nobody knows what the deal is with Star Child, but Playful is still alive and well. They just brought Super Lucky's Tale to Steam last week, so
Hmm. Oh, really?
Playful's not dead quite yet.
I didn't know that they brought Lucky's Tale to Steam. That's cool.
Not the Lucky's Tale on Oculus, the flat Super Lucky's Tale,
Ah, I didn't know there was a. Can you play it in Vorpex?
probably.
Ah, cool. I'll have to try that maybe. But I don't know, man. Star Wars Squadrons, maybe. Is that announced
Yeah,
for PlayStation?
Zalin Maru says, I thought Star Child was dead. Sony announced that it was dead, but then the developer came out to contradict them directly that same week. So nobody knows. Nobody knows if Star Child's dead or not. The way I took it is maybe Star Child on PlayStation is dead, which means maybe Playful names it something else and takes it to PC. I don't know, man. Nobody knows what happened to Star Child.
Well, maybe we find out tomorrow. Yeah, or
That's a possibility.
Yeah, next couple days.
And you had a good idea there, Roots. We could learn something new about the Star Wars Squadron. That is a previously announced PSVR title, as well as The Walking Dead Onslaught.
Oh yeah,
Those are both previously announced PSVR titles, and Onslaught is actually due this month.
Yeah, so that's a good bet for that one, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they would be announcing though. What kind of announcements for either of those games? They're both due out in the same 7-day span, by the way, at the end of the month, early next month.
Traveling Man 3775 says maybe the Rockstar VR game they announced they were working on.
I'm not aware of any. Wait a minute. Yes, I am too. There was a Rockstar subsidiary studio in Australia. I forgot about that. There's a subsidiary of Rockstar, one of their studios under their umbrella in Australia, announced a few months ago that they were beginning work on a AAA VR title for Rockstar. But I'd be really surprised to hear anything about it at this early in the game's development.
Yeah, because the announcement was that they were hiring a lot of people, right? Like they were just starting to make this game, and that we're just letting you know we're doing this.
It was something like that. I think it was on LinkedIn, if I remember correctly.
Now Star Child looks pretty cool, man. I want this to come. I want this to be the announcement. Remember what was that game that we Dragon's Lair? Remember that? Can you imagine Dragon's Lair in VR, like but kind of souped up and a little bit cooler and not so linear? That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. And, Helix Vision and Vorpex has really opened my eyes to a lot of these older, flat games could actually be in 3D in VR. So yeah, I absolutely agree. And yeah, as far as Star Child goes, a lot of people were very excited about this game. It was really odd that it never came to fruition. If I had to guess, I would say that Sony subsidized it. They paid Playful to begin development on it, but then Playful probably didn't progress at the rate that Sony liked. And after many repeated warnings for not having a game to turn in, I'd say Sony probably decided that they weren't going to publish it, and Playful probably disagreed.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to play hardball in Sony's position. You get, because sometimes you need the fire under your feet to run. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, shit, we need to get going because now Sony just pulled it out from under us. So all this work is wasted. Now we're going to make it work. So it's good that there's rumors in general, right? And hopefully that's one of the games because I want a good platformer in VR, Wes, especially one that looks this cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if Sony doesn't play hardball, then you could end up with another Golem, right? Taking 5 years to come out.
Yeah. And you don't want to wait too long because even though this game, I mean, it still looks amazing. At some point, you get to that point where it's like, oh, that would have been cool a couple of years ago.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, I think you're exactly right there. It's kind of like what we alluded to with that when we were talking about NYX yesterday, right? And it looks like a cool game, but then when you start thinking about it coming out in late 2022, we'll probably be laughing at games that look like that in late 2022.
We'll have the Elon Musk's chip Neuralink, and we'll be beaming our games right into our. Well, you guys will. I'm not going to.
It'll come out and we'll say it looks charming.
Yeah, this is a very charming game.
It's very charming. So what else, Ruuts? Here we've got Squadrons, and we've got the Walking Dead Onslaught that they could give us some kind of news about. But I mean, people are going to be let down if it's just some kind of stupid DLC pack with like skins or something like that. So I really don't expect it to be either one of those. Really all that leaves are PlayStation 5 reveals, right? Even though they said there will be no PS5 news, I think that the way we read it was correct, that they're talking about, they know everybody wants that pre-release date and the price, right? So they're telling people that's not coming in all of this. So go ahead and set your expectations correct. They said, quote, it's all about the games. So I think you had it right a moment ago. I think Resident Evil 8 is certainly a possibility for announcement this week, PSVR support for it, because we already know it's been leaked by many reliable sources that Resident Evil 8 is going to have PlayStation VR support. So maybe we start to get some of the details surrounding that this week.
Yeah, because it didn't say that, okay, this is going to be games that were confirmed VR. It just said that they've been confirmed, the games are coming out, right? So maybe that's the news. Okay, yep, you're going to have this game in VR as well. And I don't believe there'd be any bigger news than confirming this is VR as far as things that are on the actual, realistically on the plate. This will be big.
Yeah, so we've got Resident Evil 8, we've got Gran Turismo 7 sitting right in the same boat, right?
Yeah. Yes, is it Gran Turismo 7? Is that I want a story, Wes, or I want a campaign. Is there a campaign? Do I get to, or do I always have to race against other people? That's my question, because I'm not big on racing multiplayer on races for the most part, unless I'm shooting people and there's craziness going on.
I think if they give us full access to the Gran Turismo game, I think you could have it both ways.
Oh, cool. So they actually have a really cool campaign as well. So I never played much of the Gran Turismos or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I think you can just race against CPU in a circuit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds cool. Like do a whole like you just came in as a rookie or something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Onakazi says that it could be Solaris. We know Solaris is coming to PSVR.
Yeah, that's true. I've totally forgot about Solaris, right?
Yeah, Solaris Off-World Combat, and I don't know if we've even heard anything directly from Sony about that game, but we did get the announcement from from the developers that it was indeed going to come to PlayStation VR. So maybe we'll get a release date for Solaris.
What about this? The Firewall 0 Hour guys? Is that the same people?
Yeah,
Okay.
Solaris Off-World Combat.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
the same.
Okay. Yeah. So
It's
maybe.
first contact entertainment.
Yeah. Maybe we will.
Yep, that's a good thought. Good call, Onakazi. And there's probably a few more, like maybe Blaston. Did they announce Blaston as a PSVR title? I don't remember.
I don't know if they did it or not. But Delirium Drew says he's a little smashed on a Monday, which is good because no better time to be smashed than Virtual Strangers.
Absolutely. Congratulations on being able to be smashed on Monday. That's great.
Yeah, that's right. I got to go to work in the morning early.
Yeah, Drew says, I'm so curious to see the difference between Solaris PC and PSVR with the aim controller. Yeah, man, it's a bit of a dilemma for me because I don't know which one I want to buy. It's going to hit PC first. My PC headset going to have certainly have better resolution on it. It's going to have better tracking with the controllers, but then aim controller, man, and I love the aim controller. It's my favorite thing. So which way do I go? I don't know.
Get them both. No.
And yeah, you might be taking a bit of a hit early on playing on PS4, but I mean in November we're going to have PS5, and all of a sudden that the advantage that the PC has goes away. So I mean not only with Solaris, but like The Walking Dead Onslaught. Which one of those do I buy? Do I buy it on PC? Do I buy it on PS5?
Yeah, that's a good question. Which one do you think will be better? I guess it just depends on tracking. I mean, there's still going to be the limitations of the PlayStation 5. Maybe it'll be better with the camera. I mean, there's so many unknowns. Maybe they've dropped new hardware. But if I were to decide between the two right now, I would probably go PC just because it's going to guaranteed to be more of a fluid game, or as far as gameplay. But then again, maybe the gameplay is so good that there isn't the tracking limitations. I don't know.
Silent says get an Apto 2.0 gun stock. These PC guys always say that. Just get a gun stock like it's the same thing. First of all, gun stocks, they butt right up against your shoulder, and it doesn't matter what kind of gun you're holding. That thing's always right there. Second of all, and I don't know about this Apto 2.0, but gun stocks are always way more expensive than the aim controller. But we're going to find out right now just how much this Apto costs, since Scion called it out by name. Oh, look, Ruuts, it's only $159 to get the Apto 2.0 gun stock.
That's it. I think I'd be getting a HOTAS first. I was thinking about this the other day too, because you're literally having to switch your controllers, with magnets or whatever to different slots and different spaces. And everything's just built into the aim controller. So I believe the aim controller, if I would love to have an actual peripheral gun controller, just like the aim, but it's tracked for PC. I don't need a gun stock for that. You know what I mean? Or give you, I don't know. I feel, and then you could use your controllers as like, you could have it on your side as a sidearm, that'd be cool, right?
Yeah. Traveling Man 3775 says after the fall should be coming. I'm not sure if that got confirmed for PlayStation VR or not.
Yeah. Oh, look at this preview though. She's washing her hand in blood.
After the fall, actually, one of those titles toward the top of my list of most anticipated titles. I wish we would hear more news about it soon because I don't know, that's probably top 5 most anticipated releases for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They definitely both look good. Actually,
up to 4-player co-op in that one, Ruuts.
Yeah, true. 4. Wow. That's what we need, man. We need like 4-person a co-op, I mean, it starts to get crazy, right? When you get to that. So
yeah, Science says, yeah, but you can use the Apto for every FPS on PCVR. Yeah, after you go into the menu and go through the whole calibration process, it's not the same thing as paying $45 at GameStop to get an aim controller that just works when you turn the game on.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. It's definitely, I think it's superior. I mean, the obviously gun stock's the next best thing, but I'd rather have an actual gun that's built to track. And
Has games made for it rather than it made for games. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, true.
Absolutely. Anyway, what else here? What else do we have on the? Oh, of course, of course. How could I forget? Not only are we getting these daily announcements, and good work, by the way, chat. The chat had just as many ideas as I did about what we might see this week, but no good PSVR event is complete without the sale, right? There's a sale coming. And when they do PSVR sales, they generally tend to be a big deal. You know, when it's a dedicated PSVR sale, they normally have a lot of shit on sale. And it's kind of odd, the timing of it, to be quite honest, because the PSVR's birthday is in October. They generally have a pretty big blowout sale in October. So maybe this is going to be that. This is going to take the place of that.
Hmm.
But we don't know everything that's going to go on sale, but they give us a few of the titles here, and I'll just read down the list. Arizona Sunshine, Astrobot, Blood and Truth, Borderlands 2, Everybody's Golf VR, Farpoint, Firewall, LA Noir, Super Hot, Tetris Effect, and Rush of Blood. I would say just about every one of those titles are must own if you're a PSVR gamer.
Yeah, I agree. Especially some of them they are definitely on the top of the list. That's good, man. It's like it's starting to
Yeah,
make you realize that all these really good games, the AAA top of the line games for PlayStation VR, they're not the top anymore because they're about to be replaced with even better games the next generation. So
yeah, I would say if you don't have Astrobot, Blood and Truth, Borderlands 2, Farpoint, Firewall, and Rush of Blood out of that list I just read, you have to buy them. You have to buy them now while they're on sale. These are games that you have to play because they're all great, like literally great. Those are some of the best games in VR.
yeah. Well, Scion says, can you pop the clip in or free your hand to clear a jam or free your hand to throw a grenade? But I'll leave it there. You know, but not everybody wants to be doing all those. I don't know. There's a place for Sims and there's a place for video games. You know, I just want to run around and hit the button and have it be more. I mean, it's more immersive in a sense, and that way, you know, it's the way that I like it. But I don't know. Each way is different, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, your gun stock's probably going to be better to play contractors, Scion. But I don't. Have you ever held a name controller? I feel like I'm trying to explain this to someone who really can't get it. It feels right when you're holding it and you hold it up to your face. It's different than holding motion controllers and kind of having the game put a two-handed thing in your hand for you. It's just different and it feels different. Uh, it feels like you're actually holding up a weapon to your face when you've got that gun in your hand.
Yeah, it's heavier too, but both are good. You know, I kind of feel like you're both my favorites, and both the gun stock and the aim. But no, to be fair, I've never used a gun stock, so I can't say how it feels. It's probably a little bit more accurate because you've got the shoulder thing. But like you said, if you're using a gun that's not the shoulder against your shoulder, that's kind of weird too, right? It's kind of like having on Doom an arm jutting out of your chest. There's certain things that just feel weird. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I know that most of the games that I've played on PC, anytime I've looked down a scope, with the exception of the Phantom Covert Ops, pretty much every other scope that I've used in VR on PC has just been a wobbly mess. And I really don't see that the gun stock's going to make that any better. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm not against gun stocks. I'm against paying $150 for a gun stock. If
yeah,
an aim controller was $150, I will have never tried that either. So until there's a good one that's affordable, We're just going to continue to speculate on what it's like to have one.
Think about this. There's no technology in it. Why is it
Right. It's a
150?
stick. It's a $150 stick.
Yeah, like at least you can understand when there's technology and mechanics, like it's something that somebody has to put a lot of technology in there. Technology costs money, but what are you paying for this gun stock? I guess the idea, right?
Right.
And the fact that
Yeah,
people
well,
will
it's
pay
it's
it.
just like the same thing with all this other stuff. They're just charging that much because they can. As long as they all keep their prices up, then nobody has to ever drop them.
Yeah,
You know,
we need.
as soon as there's one guy who comes out with a $50 good gun stock, now all of a sudden all the gun stocks are going to be under $100.
Let's do it.
But yeah, hell yeah, let's get who was it that made one? Was it Overgees that made
Yeah,
his?
yeah. See, I don't know anything about creating a gun stock, but Overgees, let's do it. We'll slap me and Wes on as a marketing, and we'll all make tons of money.
Yeah, that's a good idea. At least we'll get these other guys to drop their prices, huh?
Yeah, that'd be worth it.
Anyway, let's move on. Certainly excited to see what's coming for the rest of the week on the PlayStation VR blowout. Certainly excited to see what's going to come on sale. You know, those were just a few of the titles, not the whole thing. It looks like Wednesday, September 9th, so 2 more days is when the sale's going to start. So tune in next week to Virtual Strangers. Obviously, we'll have a good rundown of the top values when we do free stuff and killer deals. So tune in for that. I bet we'll probably be talking for 30 minutes doing free stuff and killer deals next week.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So much excitement going on at PlayStation. It's almost like you kind of wish there was some excitement going on in the PC world, right?
Well, there's plenty of excitement to go around, buddy. There's excitement all around, and that leads us into our final topic here, and just something I've been thinking about here, and it was obvious, right? It was obvious last week when NVidia announced their new line of graphics cards by making them so powerful, yet dropping the prices almost in half from what they were last generation. It's obviously they're trying to compete with someone. There's a reason for this. And then, we hear these rumors over the last couple of days that there might not really be all that many cards to go around at launch, that it might be 2021 before anybody can really find one on a store shelf, which leads us to wonder, why did they rush to announce then? Why are they in such a hurry to launch, if that's true? And then again, like we just said, why are they so low priced despite such high performance numbers? And I think the answer is obvious. They're trying to compete with someone, but is it AMD? Is it AMD who happens to be their chief competition? Is that who they're really trying to compete with? We all know that the next series of AMD graphics cards are dropping very soon. And speculation has it that while each tier of graphics card might have a slightly lower core count, these graphics cards are expected to have way more VRAM in them than the NVIDIA cards. So I ask you, Ruuts, can AMD compete with NVIDIA this generation?
I don't know. I don't know too much about the video cards. I know that there's some conflicts in VR and some of the drivers in the past, but I'll tell you what, it's good. Whatever they're doing is really good because NVIDIA did a complete 180 and with their prices, man, and they, even though they cut my worth, I was gonna say ours, but clearly not yours. But it's just amazing what they're coming out with. Now, my question is it going to be as like some of the things with this card that I've heard with NVIDIA, like the fact that it's going to free up your CPU 100%, right?
No, it's not going. It's not going to free up your CPU 100%. It is going to severely reduce the processing load on it, though, for by not having such a need to decompress, I think is the word I'm looking for. I'm not obviously not a game developer or a hardware designer, so it's hard for me to keep all this stuff in my head. From what I understand, they're doing something that's kind of like what Sony did, but is nothing like what Sony did. You know, it's the same concept of trying to bypass the RAM and CPU in the rendering process, but it's different from what Sony did because Sony has a dedicated pipeline built just for this, whereas the PCs are still sharing resources with everything else,
Mm.
if that makes any sense. There's dedicated hardware in the PlayStation 5 dedicated just to the path between the SSD and the GPU. And while what NVIDIA did on the 3080 and 3090 is severely going to shorten it compared to previous generation PCs, it's still like the what's in the PS5 is still light years ahead in this one aspect. Don't lynch me, people. In this one department, what's in the PS5 is still light years ahead of what NVIDIA is doing. Just because of what I just said, there's dedicated lanes built just for this and dedicated chips made just for this process.
Wow, kind of make because I saw something today that was saying that exactly that this was an answer to for the PC crowd, right? To a shot back across the bow to the consoles because the consoles, at least PlayStation's making moves in this respect that just kind of blows everything else out of the water, right? But I don't know. I think it's good for everything.
I think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's just good in every aspect. I mean, I want them to compete. I want people to be feel PC master race to feel console breathing down their neck, man. Because now it's forcing these things to make moves and like that jump from the 2080 Ti to the 3080 General is so huge. I can't even imagine. It's just crazy for the price that we're gonna get it for.
Yeah, I mean it's good that they've brought it back to normal prices. We do all need to temper our excitement a little bit and realize that all they've done here is take it back to the 10 series prices. This is what I mean the 3080 is launching for what the 1080 launched for. The 3070 is launching for what the 1070 launched for. So it's not that they've really cut prices. They're not reaming people out like they did last generation, right?
Well, it's just like anything else, and we say this all the time. Competition is good. When you don't have competition, price goes up. If you're the only real game in town, you're going to pay for it. And now AMD is putting pressure on NVIDIA, and that's good. I mean, I don't know much about this card, the 6000 series card. I just know that a lot of people are super hyped about it. And even if it's not as good, but maybe it comes out a couple $100 cheaper, it's worth it. And you can see from the video that I did earlier, they're focusing on all the same stuff, the ray tracing, all that stuff. It's on their agenda as well. But I don't know if you can I'm looking at the stats for that I saw go across the screen for the 3090 and it being twice as good as the card I have in my computer right now. That is just crazy, dude. I mean, yeah, it's expensive, but I'd love to have that
No,
much power.
I think you're looking at the 3080. The 3080 is what they're claiming is twice.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, twice the 20. No, I thought it was a Ti. Maybe it is the 3080. That's still that insane. That's insane in and of itself, right? But no, the 3090
$700, dude. $700, and it supposedly just smokes the last generation flagship.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good for us. Good for I mean, just the competition between console and PC is good as well. And I'm just excited to see PlayStation VR really just blowing PC out of the water. It just makes PC look like shit. Oh, wait. No, I just want to piss people off. But glad to see them compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Because no matter which way you look at it, AMD is the competition, right? Because AMD, of course, as we just talked about, they're going to have cards that many people expect maybe not to be right on par with NVIDIA, but maybe just a step down with way more VRAM, with probably a little bit better pricing than the NVIDIA cards. But even if it is the consoles, if the reason why NVIDIA is doing this is because of all the hype around the consoles, we have to remember who's supplying the graphics processors to both the Xbox as well as the PlayStation, and that's AMD. Both of those consoles are built around AMD GPUs. So I guess no matter which way you look at it, Roots, AMD is the competition.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. And Spry Guy says he heard mining's maybe making a comeback. And I said, oh
I
God, no.
think people are just trying to make everyone
Nervous.
nervous. I mean, if miners are going to get into this for real, they're probably going to well, first of all, they're going to have a field day on all the people selling their 2000 series cards, right? Because you're going to be able very soon to pick up some 2070s and 2080s on the cheap.
Uh,
But if they're coming straight for the new series of cards, they're going to want to get the ones that have the higher amounts of VRAM. And really, the only NVIDIA card that has a lot of VRAM is that Titan, that 3090. Other than that, I think the miners are probably going to go after the AMD cards, Roots, because again, everything I'm hearing is the AMD cards are going to have a lot more GDDR6 on them than the NVIDIA cards do.
and it makes a difference, man. I like the 8 that I have, like sometimes is barely enough for some of these games, it seems. And I can't even imagine this 1060 when people used it, like 3 gigs and stuff. Man, that's just 6 gigs. They're just not enough, man.
Zayla Maru says once Ethereum goes POS, mining will drop off. Probably, and it's dropped off a lot from the days when I bought my 1080 Ti. Thank God, right? Because I mean, you couldn't get a graphics card back then, and if that's what we have to look forward to this holiday season, then I dread it. But I think I don't think we really have to worry about the miners. There's enough cards to go around now, and crypto has dropped off enough. It's not the big craze anymore. But as far as NVIDIA goes, I think that just as much as AMD, the AMD cards, I think that you really, you're right, Roots. I think that it is these consoles, but I don't know how much the consoles view NVIDIA as competition. I mean, how many console gamers do you think that a $500 graphics card is going to draw? I mean, the whole consoles are expected to be around $500. Do you think just because these graphics cards come out to be $500 that people are going to come over and start PC gaming all of a sudden and walk away from all of these exclusive titles and everything that comes? Well, I mean, I guess the exclusive titles really are a Sony thing, but you get what I'm saying.
It just depends on, like maybe they've had console their whole life and they've dreamed of PC VR or even just PC gaming, but the thought of spending, $1,200 or $1,500 for a really good card was just like, you know what, I'm not spending $2,000 to build my computer, but now you can build a computer complete for about $1,000 and it'd be really good. Maybe it is. It's twice as much as a console, but now you're able to do everything on it versus being locked into the console. For those people, yeah, I could see it being a draw, but for most, probably not. It's not going to draw people away from console gaming for the most part. I mean, most console people are still going to continue playing console, right? So
yeah, it's a different crowd of people. It's a completely different group. I mean, the PC gamers always see it as this big competition, but the console gamers, they're not the type of people who are going to be tinkering around on PCs. They're the type of people who want to turn it on and play, right? They're not the type of guys who want to learn all this technical stuff and install drivers and tweak settings. They want to turn their game on and play. And beyond that, again, like I said a moment ago, this isn't the first time that we've seen these prices from graphics cards. This is the norm. It was only higher last generation, but all of those years before that, these were the prices. So I don't really see that this is really going to draw any console gamers over at all. I think if anything, this is NVIDIA just basically trying to capitalize on all the next gen hype and say, hey, look at us. We're going next gen as well.
well, okay, but you got to think of it from this standpoint, though. These ones won't be the only video cards out there. Like all the, like we were saying before, the 1070 or or anything that's below, everything's going to drop. People are going to be able to get the 1080 Ti for a couple $100. And so that same person that's like, would have turned their nose up at some of the crappy video cards, because you're not going to go from something worse from the console to something worse, but maybe you get the card you had before and you're able to get a really good computer for 700. I mean, I didn't even think about that. We're not quite there yet, but in a few months, like video cards, you just won't be able to find shit cards anymore. The lowest end is going to be a middle ground card, right? You know, for like $100.
What you're not considering is that the 1080s and 1070s and 1060s, these are getting ready to be the shit cards. Back when the 1080 Ti was the king shit and coming out at $700, you had those, you know, used $200 cards then too. Those were 980s, those were 880s. And I know those sound like shit cards to you now, but back then, those cards were what the 1080s are now. So, I mean, it's really no different.
Well, it just depends on, you know, like if you were looking at that 1080, I guess maybe back then, I can see that point, but it's still going to, those cards are still going to be out there. The lowest end card is not going to be shit anymore. And you won't even have, not even the used ones. It'll just be like you go out to get a card and, you could get a really good card for $150 that's not used, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I've been actually watching the used markets for the last few weeks. They're starting to come down. I mean, you can get a 1080 used pretty cheap right now. Actually, I think I could probably get one for $150 if I wanted to haggle a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't really see many console gamers coming over to PC. I think that's pretty much a closed off demographic. I mean, you'll have a few of them that, as they get older, really are have more aptitude with computers and really like tinkering and things. And of course, you know, we've always had the PC gamer coming out and telling everyone just how much more awesome it is. So there's going to be a few people buy into that and want to move over. But I think for the most part, console gamers are going to continue to be console gamers. Now, do you think that these new cards are going to stop PC gamers from buying consoles? Because these aren't the same consoles that we've always had coming out before Ruuts. These consoles are much closer to PC gaming than they ever have been before. And as we've detailed, in some ways, they offer things that the PC can't. So, do you think that if someone was already thinking, a PC gamer was already considering picking up one of these consoles for $500, do you think now they stop and say, well, no, I'm not getting a console. I'm just going to get a new graphics card and upgrade what I already have?
Well, it depends on if they want to upgrade or not, but I definitely see that there's more of a draw to go the other direction for sure. Because the one thing that drew me away from a lot of the flat, even the flat games like Destiny 2 or whatever, I can't do 30 frames per second, man. And if you're going to tell me I can now play all the games that I love to play, that I would play on the PC, I can play on the PlayStation 5 with the same frame rate, same fidelity, you know, and without all the jank. Like if the PlayStation 5, say that it's a PlayStation VR 2, you know, really amazing headset, tracking is just the same as Oculus, I'd almost rather play the PlayStation, because I know that when I turn it on, the shit's going to work. Not going to be switching audio sources, like all the fucked up jank, dude. Like it's the friction's real, you know, and that part of me just dreads PC VR sometimes, because everything works until it doesn't, and then you're spending 30 minutes trying to figure out why you have no audio or whatever it is. And I'm not saying there's no problems with PlayStation VR or consoles. It's minimal. It's definitely a lot less for sure.
Right. There's something to be said for having a dedicated gaming machine. That's all it was ever designed to do, was be a gaming machine. And there's a lot to be said for optimization. And you've said it yourself many times, is that the only thing that's really worth anything is time, and all the time saved, not having to just mess with stuff. It's nice to just be able to turn it on and go sometimes, right?
Yeah, Yeah, same thing. Reason why the Quest is so good, right? It's VR where you don't have all the jank for the most part unless you start involving the PC and then you bring that jank in. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that consoles can say they have over PC in a sense. It's just a lot less hassle, more user friendly. So
Well, it's funny that we keep talking about these consoles versus gaming card in this conversation when really what we've been talking about is PlayStation 5 versus PC. But what about Xbox Roots? I mean, there is no VR to take into consideration, at least not at this point. And all of these, exclusives that Sony touts, this is not a thing on Xbox. All of everything that you can get on Xbox, you can get on PC. They release their games day and day on PC. So basically, the approach that Xbox has taken is the PC approach. They've souped it up. They've put out this super powerful box, right? That we all expect is going to be around $500, give or take. Obviously, they're paying more than that for it. That's the reason why they don't want to announce their price yet. They want to undercut Sony, but they don't want to do it by any more than they have to and take any more of a loss than they have to. So they're kind of playing chicken right now. But what about Xbox as a platform? Do you think that these cheaper graphics cards are going to stop anybody from buying Xboxes? Because I got to think the only people that the Xbox has ever really even appealed to in the first place are PC gamers because they're taking that same approach to having high specs and things, right?
yeah, I mean, it could definitely. It's not going to keep them as much out for sure because you don't like with PlayStation. You can still play VR. So if that's on your plate at all, and you're an Xbox player, it's a no-brainer at this point. You have to go to PC, right, or to the competitor, which is dirty for Xbox players. They're not going to go to PlayStation.
Well, what if you're an Xbox gamer, right? And you're looking at the prospects of paying $500 to get the next Xbox, or you could pay say $750 to $800 to get a gaming computer with a 2000 series card in it that has been recently devalued, or maybe even get one with a 3070. And I mean, 3070 cards are only $500, so maybe $800 gets you a pretty banging ass uh, PC. And now not only can you play VR, but you've got all these games that you can't play on Xbox, whereas all the Xbox games you can play on that computer. Do you think that this stops the Xbox gamer from getting the next generation console and instead moving over to PC?
Probably give them a pause, right? And not only that, but we've said it before. There's not really any reason you have to buy the new Xbox. If you have an old one, you can still play all the gold games. They're not giving you much incentive, like with exclusives, right? So you could still play your old Xbox, get the PC, get all the new stuff, and you're not being left out of anything. And then the new stuff comes out, you can still play it on the PC because they let you play everything. So win-win.
Yeah, and certainly if you were a PC gamer considering getting an Xbox, I mean the whole draw is that it was so powerful, right? For such a good price. But now that the 2070 is a thing for that same price, I mean the 3070 rather, the whole draw of the Xbox Series X was that it was around 2070 graphics power for $500. But now that there's a 3070 for $500 that's twice as powerful, I got to think if there was any PC gamers thinking about buying that box for 500, that's just completely off the table now, right?
Yeah, there's no reason for it. I'd rather just get a new card. I already got everything else. So
Slayblade says Series S leaked today for $299. Yeah, they've been leaking that for months, dude. Nobody's going to buy that thing, man. I mean, it's a good price, sure, but it's kind of like a half step, right? It's not a Series X. It's not even close. It's not even close to a PS5. I mean, sure, it's better than the previous generation Xbox, but it's not going to play anything that doesn't. So I don't know who they're catering to there at 299.
Yeah. Well, there's those people that, and I run into them all the time in their apartments, and they're like playing like PS2 and shit, and they're like, they're always way behind everybody else, or maybe they get the
But
console right at the end of the cycle when it's, really cheap. So
but they could have bought a PS4 or an Xbox X for 299 already. What would those people be
yeah, late to the
waiting
party.
to?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess.
I don't know, man.
So yeah, I think at the end of it all, the answers to our question here, I think NVIDIA is competing with AMD on both fronts. I think that they're competing with AMD cards because nobody really knows what these cards are going to be for sure, right? They may turn out to be just as good. I doubt it, but I certainly think they're probably going to be a better value even at this price point. Um, and they're competing with AMD as the supplier to the consoles. Now, I don't really see the cheaper graphics cards affecting the Sony crowd as much. Sony has their own ecosystem. I don't think anybody was about to jump out for PC before, and I certainly don't think it's going to happen now because Sony gamers come to play the Sony games, and those are still there. Where I do think that this could factor into the console world is with the Xbox Series X because there was already not that much excitement for that box. And a lot of the people that were excited about it were people who already have gaming PCs. So I think that a lot of the people that were going to buy that are going to just upgrade their graphics card now instead. And I think it's just more bad news uh, of an already bad couple of months for Microsoft. Now, that being said, Roots, uh, we continue to wait on prices for the consoles. We continue to wait on release dates for the consoles. Rumor has it that the stock for the NVIDIA cards when they drop is going to be way less than a normal launch. Are we going to actually be able to buy any of this stuff this year?
I don't know. That's a good question. Because we theorized several months ago, when everything was just starting with this, you know, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, that it was going to affect everything. It was going to affect all the different, electronics around the world. And then they were told us now there's gonna be enough, and then we keep hearing that there's shortages on everything. So, I think probably more people than want to believe are not going to get what they want. I would temper your expectations and do everything you can, like Wes is doing. Wes has put himself in all sorts of lotteries or whatever you can for PlayStation, right? At least the one.
Yeah.
So, and just make sure you're ready on that at the refresh button. Because
Yeah, I've got it all on the line, Roots. I mean, I've already jerked my graphics card out of my computer, which wouldn't be such a big deal if I didn't have a brand new state of the art headset on the way that I need a graphics card to plug it into.
yeah,
So it's all on the line for me, dude. If I can't get a graphics card, then I'm going to be, well, I'm already, I've got contingency plans, so it's not that dire for me. I'm kind of being a little dramatic. But if I can't get a 2080 on or a 3080 on launch, I've got a couple of different routes I can go. It's not that big of a deal. But if I can't get a PlayStation on a PlayStation 5 on launch, that's going to kind of suck because that's really the one thing I've been, over a year preparing for. So I don't know that we'll be able to get any of it this year, but I'm hoping that I'm at least able to get one or the other.
how cool would it be if like you didn't get your PlayStation 5 and then like your wife surprised you and it was under the tree and you opened it up? That like you just be so ecstatic, right?
Yeah, that would be something, but then it would start to sink into me. What did she have to do to get that?
Oh
What did she
yeah.
pay?
It's like, oh
How much did she drop on that thing? Then I might start to dread it a little bit.
yeah, the bot. That's what's crazy, right? Is that's what's going to happen? Is like so because there's such a demand, more people are going to be buying it to resell it than anything, and it probably is going to be really hard to get a hold of both of them, video cards and the consoles.
Okay, so here's the question then. All right, so we already have the consoles playing chicken with one another, and up until now, people's hype level has just been rising and rising and rising around the PlayStation 5. But now, I mean, watch any of these YouTube channels that are dedicated to this stuff. People are starting to get frustrated. They're starting to get a little bit pissed off that they've been on the edge of their seat for 2 months now and still nothing. Um, so we have the two consoles, both of which are probably going to be limited stock. I mean, people could settle for an Xbox X if they want, but I don't know how much people want to do that. You have these graphics cards. Again, I mean, here we're talking about $500, $700, $1,500. And even if you've got that kind of money, there's no guarantee that you're going to get one. Um, my question to you, Roots, is Oculus Quest going to be the real winner here? Because all indications are in less than 2 weeks from now, there's going to be a $300 Oculus standalone headset hit the market. And we don't expect there's going to be any kind of problem getting your hands on this one. It's going to be $300, cheaper than any of these consoles or graphics cards, with the exception of the Series S, I guess, that just leaked. But there's no question you're going to be able to get your hands on this thing. There's no question that most people are going to be able to afford it, and nobody's going to have to wait on it, Roots. You're going to be able to get it in just a couple of weeks. So is the Oculus Quest, is VR going to be the winner at the end of the day?
Yeah, it sounds like it's setting up to be, and I'll tell you why. My biggest thing is, and we may not feel it, but because it's been 4 years, but VR is the new thing. And the new thing is what gets pushed. And the fact that there's not going to be enough of everything, like say your kid wants a PlayStation 5, they can't get it, but hey, you can get this VR thing that they were bugging you about 6 months ago, or maybe they're still watching it. And it's right before holidays. So you're going to have a ton of stockings that need to be filled with VR goodness. And we're right at the time where you have big titles being pushed as well, and we don't even know how these titles are going to be pushed in mainstream. Medal of Honor, let all the Call of Duty people see the Medal of Honor trailer on a Super Bowl or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Fuck, I got to get this.
Or on the NBA, we know that Oculus has bought that multi-year deal with the NBA. They're going to have advertising all over that shit.
Yeah, and if it's actually better than Next VR was, which I think it will be, at least on when it was under contract, I think it's, if you could feel like you're literally really are on the court side and the fidelity is just as good or close, I think that would be a big seller. People, especially since nobody can go or wants to go to a live event now, but now you can feel like you're really there. So
yeah, that's not just what I'm talking about either. I mean, that's cool. But what I'm referring to is the fact that this deal includes advertisement on television during the NBA games.
Oh, yeah.
All of the NBA games are going to have Oculus ads in it now. So Medal of Honor or Oculus Quest 2 or whatever it is that Facebook is selling us at the time, it's going to be seen by millions and millions of people every week for the next few years. So I think it could be a perfect storm about to take place for VR because we have the cheap hardware. We have everybody's frustration with all of this lack of availability and high prices. And like you said, VR is the thing now, right? It's actually becoming the thing that people want.
Yeah, I think so too. And Onikazi says he thinks it was going to just be the same thing, 180 under the basket. I don't know. I'm just saying if it's any different, if they make it better than what it is, because right now it's okay, but if you could feel like you were really there, or it was actually what they want to get is to where you can make an argument to where it's better than being in person. Once they do that, then it's a done deal. But you're right that Spry even says nobody watches the NBA games anymore. So some people are, but
a lot of people watch NBA, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be good. I think it's good now. And what about this? We haven't even really talked about this. What if somehow, some way between now and the release of Xbox, you get the announcement that Oculus is pairing up with them, and you will be able to use the Rift S or the Quest with the Xbox That opens a whole different can of worms. Not as likely, but that rumor was still out there, and it was pretty credible, right? That they were pairing up for something.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, this becomes less and less likely, but it's certainly a possibility. I think that I think that we will see Xbox VR before the end of the generation. I think that we will see it. I think it's going to be WMR. I think that we're going to see Reverb G2. I think we're going to see Odyssey G2. I think we're going to see this next line of WMR be supported by Xbox.
Yeah.
But Oculus would be cool too. It makes more sense because Oculus has the exclusive titles to compete with Sony, whereas WMR doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yet. They do have Hellblade 2 coming up, right?
Man, how crazy would it be if they said that, much I think they said it wasn't going to be, but Microsoft was a Windows mixed reality, the flight sim. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No, fuck you.
Anyway,
That's not awesome. You get to play it.
I
Ruuts
think,
says get screwed there. No.
right. Now they've already announced they're going to support other headsets, just not at launch.
Yeah.
It's not like any of us have computers that can run it anyway.
Yeah, true. Very true. And I guess you're going to be able to run it very well soon with ray tracing even.
Hopefully it's soon. I don't know how soon it'll actually be, but hopefully by the Halloween we'll have all this stuff lined out and flying around the Jesus statue in Rio.
Yeah, dude. You know the only thing I don't like about that Microsoft flight sim, and I'm a little salty about, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like when you buy the game, you're not buying everywhere. Like you have to part by part. You want, say, Denver Airport or whatever it is, you got to buy that airport. And I can't imagine how, if you wanted every single thing on the map, how much it would be. It's expensive.
Yeah, I got to imagine. Onakazi says it reminds him that he needs to finish Hellblade VR. Yes, you do, dude. That whole game's nuts, but the end of it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites in VR, and that's actually kind of toward the top of my list when I do get all my PCVR setup rebuilt with the extra graphics card and the extra resolution headset. Hellblade, one of my top things. One of the first things I'm going to go into is Hellblade.
Are you going to finish it, play through it, or are you just going to go in to see how good it looks? Because
I don't know if I'm going to be able to help it. I think I'm going to have to finish it.
Yeah, I need to finish it.
How do you stop, right?
Yeah, I don't even know where I stopped, but it was so good. I need to get back into it.
Yeah, I love that game. It's one of my faves.
Yep.
Anyway, I think it's going to wrap us up here on the Monday show. I want to thank you all for showing up. Again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's a good way to help support us and help our community to grow. And if you want to join our community, and not just on a weekly, but on a day-to-day basis, you can find an invitation to our Discord down there in the description. And we're talking this stuff all day, every day, man. We're in there playing games, talking VR, acting like a real community. You know, this community is more of a community to me than the one I live in, Ruuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Me too. It's like everybody's family, right?
Yeah, it's like I never really talked to my neighbor, but you know, I'll talk to Sion at least once a week, right?
Yeah, you can talk to everybody here. So there's definitely a lot of people for sure.
Hard to Get says, I'd love to play Astrobot 4K Ultra. Hell yeah, dude.
God.
Astrobot's one of those games that blow my mind. Like, it's one of those, I can't believe that they can do this on PlayStation 4. Like, it looks like a PC game, doesn't it, Ruuts?
Yeah, imagine how good it's going to look. Super sampled on the PlayStation 5.
Oh, dude. I can't wait. And there's going to be new Astrobot, too. You know there is.
Yeah. And I'm going to put out there right now, Wes, you are going to get a hold of your video card and your PlayStation 5. It's coming.
I'm certainly going to put in the work. That gives me a leg up on half of them anyway. I'll be up clicking refresh and watching my email while half the world sleeps.
Yeah. Sion says he doesn't understand how we can drop a game for a month and come back and remember where anything. That is a problem sometimes. And it's a problem I'm going to have when I do eventually go back to Abduction because there's so much to that game and I don't remember shit about it, you know?
Yeah, it's a more daunting prospect for me normally before I start playing, generally by the time I get back into the game, about 10 minutes of messing around, and it's like riding a bike. All of a sudden, it all comes back to me and good to go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to take breaks between things, you know. I'm trying to finish more stuff. It's easy when it's like Jupitergrad, and it's cool,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I thought about trying to think of ways to work it into the channel so that we have to, like we have to finish games. Have some kind of series on the channel or segment on the channel. Maybe it's monthly that revolves around us finishing the games because there's so many great games that I want to finish, but I don't feel like I ever can because it's always on to the next one, right? For the channel, we got to be looking at different things all the time.
Yeah, we could name it "The Finisher is Watching." You know, the main fan is watching us and he's judging us. We need to finish it.
Yeah, something like that. That's a suggestion.
Yeah, that's one suggestion, right?
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Give us your clicks. You know what to click. Click all the things. It helps us out. If you want to do a little more, of course, you all know you can support us on Patreon. $3 a month gives you our weekly show notes as well as the money show. Got to do a money show this week, Ruuts.
Yeah, we're gonna be filming the money show on the next couple of days, probably. I would imagine before you go back to work, right?
Yeah, and I'll probably release one of the old ones on the channel just so people get an idea of what it's like. Maybe I'll release the Minecraft one since Minecraft's in the news. Maybe we'll release the Minecraft money show just to let everybody kind of see what we're doing here with it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You said that a while ago. You know, like the Patreon people get it first, and then we move it over to the channel eventually, right? So they get to check it out. And Jim Hall comes in at the last second and says, "Peace, I'm here." But yeah, no, everybody, you guys all rock. We appreciate you coming around, and yeah.
And with that said, friends, I would like to thank you once again for watching, and for Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends.